Hello and welcome to another edition of Defender Roundtable, where this incredible Defender staff gets together and talks about the latest issues, topics of the day. And we have with us, joining us today, of course, our managing editor, Rashonda Tate, Terrence Harris, who has about 15 different jobs with the Defender, and Laura O, the one and only. But we also have a special guest, the publisher, the owner of the Defender, Sinceria Sonny Messiah Giles. And so we're all here today. Yeah, woo, woo, woo. We're all here today to talk about the life and the legacy of Sylvester Turner. How we doing today, y'all?
Doing
Wonderful.
good.
Yeah.
Doing
Excellent,
pretty
excellent.
good.
Well, let's jump right into it. So the legacy that Sylvester Turner leaves behind. I want to go to Rashonda first. From your perspective, what speaks to you about his legacy?
That it's unfinished. He had so many plans for Houston in general, and I think when he was heading into Congress, he was looking forward to implementing things on a national level that he hadn't been able to complete on the local level. In our exit interview that we had right as he was nearing the end of his term in office, he talked about that. He talked about not having enough time, even though he had been in 8 years. It takes so long to do the things he wanted to do. So I think his legacy is really so many of the programs that he's implemented and the things that he had planned to continue doing that we hope someone will pick up the mantle and carry on.
Yeah, yeah. Well said, well said. Terrence, you took a different perspective on your article about Mayor Turner. What did you talk about?
Well, I spent some time over in Acres Homes, his beloved community, where he's done so much, talking to people, and just getting a real sense of, just how he kept his community, in his heart, and also always in the city's plans. I mean, and he made sure that they were included in big moves, big decisions. I mean, like the Lone Star Community College campus that's there, the Black Chamber, or Acres Chamber of Commerce that he started, that he when he was state legislator, he made sure that they got funding for, and just, he just always, I mean, he was always pushing the envelope. He kept them first. And you hope that someone else can pick up the mantle and not forget them. I mean, because it is such an important part of the Houston history. I mean, and what that community went through, how it kind of got absorbed into the city when it was kind of its own thing, for so long. And just how, sometimes with that comes, just getting lost in the mix of things because you don't get included. And so, you have to, and Sylvester always kind of made sure that they were included. And that was huge. I mean, and that community, I think, thrived and continues to thrive because of it. I mean, and so it'll be interesting to see how that happens or how that goes going forward.
Yeah, yeah. And Laura, like me, you're a Houston transplant, but you've been here long enough to know that Mayor Turner was an iconic figure. Can you speak on that?
Yeah, and just to piggyback off what Terrence was saying about making people feel included, he also made young people feel included as well through his various initiatives. And if we're talking about his legacy, he is planting the seeds with growing our youth base and foreseeing what the future of young people can do in the city of Houston. He's supported events or initiatives like My Brother's Keeper. That was designed to improve the opportunities for Black boys and young men of color in the area. He's also supported the Higher Houston Youth Program and helped to provide over, I believe, 20,000 jobs for young people in the city. And I remember him being the president of the African American Mayors Association and building a coalition of people to end childhood hunger in the city as well. And so he's done a lot and continues to do a lot for young people. And hopefully those initiatives continue to move forward for whoever continues to take that torch because it's in dire need right now.
Yeah, and we haven't even touched on his national impact. He was that kind of figure. But I want to bring in Sonny Messiah Giles because when we're talking about national impact, same thing with Sheila Jackson Lee, the same thing with Reverend William Lawson, and we just lost both of those recently, and now Houston is hit with the loss of another giant, Sylvester Turner. Can you speak to how the Houston Black community is grieving with so much loss in such a short period of time?
I think that the community, when they found out about his death, it was shocking. I think in the case of Reverend Lawson and in the case of Sheila, people were somewhat prepared for it. They anticipated it. But with Sylvester, it was one of those shocking kinds of things. I think that when you look at the grieving that has to happen, we have to go through the 5 stages. I think people are now coming to the realization of his legacy. And the tears are still there, but you're transitioning now to what the future is going to hold, or what's next kind of thing. But I just want to take a minute to say that we started covering Sylvester in 1988. I actually bought the paper in 1981. So I saw him run for office. I saw him win. I saw him place so much emphasis on his family, particularly his daughter, Ashley. And my last conversation with him was about his grandson. He was showing me baby pictures.
Little Jameson, yeah.
Showing me how, he was growing up and he was anticipating being able to touch, because I was saying, well, I haven't got any grandchildren. I don't know if I'm gonna get them before I die. And he was like, well, I got mine. And so he was promoting the fact that he was going to enjoy this time with his grandson and how proud he was of his daughter. But there was a spiritual side to Sylvester that I think he was an orator at heart, because he came from the debate team at Klein. But I think that God-centered piece came through in his love for people and his whole goal of service. So as a result, I do want to make sure that people acknowledge that he was a God-fearing man and that he was a person who believed in love.
Yeah, and I appreciate the fact that you shared that, because it reminds me the Defender edition that we did that focused on Sylvester Turner. Beautiful job that I think we all need to give ourselves kudos. But my favorite part was when we were sharing our personal experiences. And I remember Rashonda talking about how he was just so relatable. Can anyone speak to that?
Yeah, one of the things that I adored so much about him was, one, Sylvester was the mayor at the time, our congressional representative, but he was also a friend to the Defender. He was one of those people we could always call, and no matter what, he would answer. I personally had begun working with him. He had some questions. It's so funny. He would call me about questions about his book that he was writing, and I'm thinking, you're Sylvester Turner, and you want my advice. And it was just a phenomenal thing. He was like, no, you're Rashonda Tate. Yes, I want your advice. And it was just a wonderful experience, because he was just a humble man who, with everyone that he dealt with, he told everybody, I'm Sylvester Turner from Acres Home, and I am your champion. I'm your voice. And I think that's the life and the legacy he lived.
Yeah, and as Sonny was saying, we got to go through those 5 steps of grief, but we also have to, with clear minds, talk about what's the next move. Like, who has next with all this loss of leadership in such a short period of time? Who are some of the young up and coming political leaders, community advocates that you all have on your radar as someone that's going to be the next torchbearer for the city of Houston? Can we start with you, Sonny, and then move on?
Oh man, you're getting all kind of lists, but it starts with the list of people who ran for the congressional seat against Sylvester before he even jumped in the race. You had Amanda Edwards, you had Jarvis Johnson. Those are the 2. There was a young lady and a young man, because we hosted that thing with Channel 26 for the debate, that I'm not thinking of their names, but Swat, I know you know because you wrote the story. But I think there are candidates also that were not in that debate that are bubbling up, that, other folks. Christian Menifee is another young one. There's some other names I'm sure in the list, but one of the things I do want to hit related to his relatability, One of the things Sylvester did that I always appreciated, and I encourage other elected officials to do, even the ones that are going to be coming up next, is I would get Saturday calls from him, sometimes at ungodly times, and he would say, I just want to put a bug in your ear. I just want to tell you about this. You might want to look into this. And I would go, Sylvester? He would say, yeah. And I was like, it was one of those kind of, but it would give us insight into things. We don't have a staff of 20 people. So we need that resource from the elected officials. And he understood, I'm not telling you one way or another. I'm just telling you what a topic is that you may want to look into. And that to me is a value. That's going beyond the pale of just being a public servant. This is a person who's really concerned about the issues that impact us.
And to your point, Sonny, I think that's why whoever steps into those shoes got some big shoes to fill. I mean, because this man really he walked the walk, he talked the talk, and he was there for his people. I mean, I heard so many stories of people just the unbelievable access to him that he gave. I mean, his business card included his cell phone number on it. People had his number. He answered his phone. He didn't duck and dodge people. I mean, and that's what we need in our community. We need people who are going to be accessible, who are going to be willing to listen. I mean, they may not always agree, but they listen. And I think, to your point, that that's one of the beauties of him and what he gave, and it's the challenge to this next group of young leaders who are coming up to be able to emulate that, and so it's going to be interesting to see how that takes place, but it has to in some way. People have to understand you can't just be a leader and a politician in a vacuum. You got to be out there. You got to, your people and your constituents have to know that they can reach out and touch you.
Yeah. And Laura, as our Gen Z representative, who are those young up and coming leaders that you see on the horizon?
I think Ms. Sunny covered the list. She covered the list. It's fair to everything that she said. So that answer, Sunny has answered it.
All right. Go ahead, Laura. Go ahead. So any final comments before we get out of here about the great mayor, congressman, state representative Sylvester Turner from the FOFO? Any final comments?
I think Sylvester was loved by the Defender, and I think Sylvester loved the Defender just based on the support that he gave us. One of the last things that he did that I thought was really a show of friendship and was that he did our commercial. We have a series of commercials that we recorded as a team, and we asked Sylvester if he would do one of them, and he said yes. And when he came and recorded that, knowing how busy his schedule was, he actually shared with us and did the commercial. And to me, that was an indication that this goes beyond you all covering me as a journalist. This is a friendship and a partnership in serving the community.
The Defender offers Houstonians news about this city that you can't get anywhere else. And the more you know about what's happening in our city, the more you can create change. At the Defender, they speak truth to power, which empowers all of us to move forward.
And Rashonda, didn't you interview him on that same day?
What on what same day?
On the day we did the commercial?
Yes, that's when we did his exit interview. And a great interview, because like we said, we talked about his legacy. We talked about everything that he had done and his biggest accomplishments, his most proud moments. So we covered a wide variety of topics. And I really do, just to co-sign what Sonny said, I think that beyond being a politician, he was a friend to the Defender. And anyone who has watched our coverage over the years can see, we would hold strong, and I think he respected us about that. If there were tough topics, we didn't shy away from them. We didn't sugarcoat things. We confronted him head on about them, and he addressed them. Even if he didn't like the way a discussion was going, he liked the chance to give his side of the story. And I think that's one of the things he respected about the Defender.
And to that point, one of the things I appreciated most about him was he prioritized the Black press. There's so many Black politicians who will talk to everybody else before they will talk to us, but he would always put us at the front of the line. I really appreciate him for that. Well, y'all, that's it for this edition of the Defender Roundtable. Make sure that you go to our website, defendernetwork.com, check out all the incredible stories written by these incredible folk that you're seeing right here, and like, comment, and share, and tell a friend about the Defender Network, Houston's leading Black information source. Until next time, stay Black.
Stay faithful.